Hey everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. Here's a buzzword for you, proficiency-based learning. You guys are fired up about it, and we have the answers to your questions.
Hope and pray that somebody that you know will have an extra one.
No ticket, no problem. We will catch up with one Mainer out in Minnesota who seems to get into the Super Bowl every single year.
It's like a media literacy curriculum.
And fake news is so pervasive online that now kids are learning it in schools.
This is News Center Now. We are 49 hours and 29 minutes away from kickoff to Super Bowl 52, which means there are only a couple of days left for you to get yourself fired up, get all the food that you need, and get ready for the Patriots and whatever team they're playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I love that live look. Exactly, that live look at the scene, setting the stage for the weekend. Okay, so plenty of us are going to be going to the store tonight, maybe tomorrow, picking up some snacks, some drinks, getting ready for all the watch parties and everything that we're going to be doing. But our March to Minnesota team, they are in Minneapolis getting ready for Super Bowl 52, and they've met up with some Mainers. That's right, guys.
Yes, we have. We are in O'Donovan's Irish Pub, and we're here because Shamrock Sports, the Portland-based company, is hosting a party, and we don't want to miss a party.
It's only 4 o'clock.
Exactly. They're going to have a really special guest here tonight as well, a former Patriots player, running back Kevin Falk. I'm telling you now. We're going to be talking to him later, so we're hanging out here. And Bill, you know that the Super Bowl has become much more than just the Super Bowl. It's really a week-long event with parties like this.
Oh, it is indeed. Can I tell them about the question?
Yes.
We want to know. What's the best part of the Super Bowl to you? Is it the game, the commercials, or the halftime show?
What's your favorite part?
Well, I'm here for Justin Timberlake.
I knew
There's
you
no
were.
doubt about that.
I knew you were.
If you want to vote, go to pulse.newscentermaine.com, or you can open up our News Center Maine app. For the people here who are actually want to see the game, Bill, we did find one Mainer who is here in town. He wants to see the game, but he's taking a big risk to do so.
Masses of football fans pack the Mall of America. Mall security estimating between 500 and 600,000 visitors checking out the stores and Radio Row.
They ought to have coat checks in this mall, huh? They'd make a mint.
Squeezing through hordes of people is tough, but not uncommon for David Dosty.
First one was 97.
The Fairfield, Maine native uses an unorthodox and unpredictable strategy to get tickets to the Super Bowl.
Hope and pray that somebody that you know will have an extra one.
Except he does that in person, in the host city, showing up and setting the maximum price he's willing to pay.
With Brady getting older, you never know how much longer he's going to have, so you want to take it in while you can. I do. How you doing, man? That was cool.
So far, his strategy has worked, getting a seat at 5 of the 8 Super Bowls he's traveled to. That moment when he finds his golden ticket.
That's awesome.
Absolutely psyched.
Tickets to Super Bowl 52 cost in the thousands of dollars.
Only something you do once in your life. I'm young, might as well do it now, right?
Some Patriots fans, like Greg Asselbeckian, use those high prices to their advantage.
I bought the first ticket. I was up in the nosebleeds for $2,900. Sold that on there. I sold it for $3,500. So I used that profit to buy this upgraded seat, 124, row 14 for $3,700. And now I get to see Tom Brady without a pair of binoculars. I'll be right under his mouth.
No, I have all 5.
Those memorable moments are worth the gamble for diehard fans like David.
Hoping to have a 6 soon.
Live the moment, and you can't take it with you, and it's true. That is so true.
David already has a ticket for the Super Bowl. He set a budget at $2,500 this year. He had to go a little bit over that, but he did not have to pay more than $2,900, which is what some of those nosebleed tickets are going for right now on StubHub and Ticketmaster and so forth.
Worth it for him, I'm sure. Hey, did you guys know that there is a Mainer on the Patriots roster?
Derek Rivers, born in Augusta, Maine. His mother, more of a Mainer. She's a native and a Coney graduate. But we'll be talking with her about the experience of flying out here on the Patriots family charter yesterday. She's pretty excited.
And then later at 6, of course, like we promised you, Kevin Volk. So Lee and Lindsay, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks. I'm glad David got a ticket. I hooked up with him last year in Houston, and he was not able to get a ticket for last year's game, so I'm glad that the team caught him, and maybe they brought him better luck because he's going to the game, which is awesome.
Very good.
All right, so whether you are going to walk, drive, snowshoe, fly to your Super Bowl party on Sunday, however you're going to get there, what will the weather be like? Our champion of all champions, Casey, with the details.
Lee, do you take a bus for the kids? You take an old school bus to the game. It is, you know, there is going to be some weather on Sunday, so let's talk about it. It starts with some snow showers in the morning, no big deal. A lot of clouds around, temperatures in the 30s. Here we are at 11 o'clock, and as the storm system approaches us, the precipitation will intensify, but it will also change along the immediate coastline. So boundary layer temperatures here are just going to be too warm. Even if it's not 40, it'll definitely be in the upper 30s here around 2 o'clock, so it starts changing to rain there. Tries to push inland a bit here by 4 or 5 o'clock, just about an hour, hour and a half before the game begins. There will, though, be a mixed zone with some sleet in there. I don't think we'll see much freezing rain. Should be just sleet. And then snowing in the mountains. And as that rain snow line tries to drive through the game, it gets all the way into Waterville, gets into the foothills most likely, turning to rain there and staying snow in the mountains. After the game, we're basically looking at rain for a lot of us, the snow tapering off in the mountains. And then this thing is out of here by late in the evening Sunday and into Monday morning. So I think for most of us, it won't be a huge problem. In the mountains, though, there will be several inches of accumulation. We'll talk about amounts and, of course, our next storm, because there's always one in the horizon, in a few minutes.
All right, take a look at some of the news headlines from today. President Trump released the so-called Nunes memo detailing allegations of FBI bias. It asserts that FBI and DOJ leaders signed off on a surveillance warrant to monitor communications of a former Trump campaign associate, and that they requested that surveillance because of research that was funded in part by the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton's campaign.
The radio DJ fired for groping Taylor Swift has a new job in the business. Already, Swift fans are sending the new employer hate mail and death threats. The DJ says he's just trying to move on after the courts ordered him to pay $1 in damages to the pop star.
Coming up, a reward for high-achieving students or a punishment for those who are struggling to learn.
You know, I think that that's where there's sort of a fundamental disagreement about the purpose of grades.
Proficiency-based learning. You had a lot of questions, and we have some answers coming up on Now. Plus,
well, it's a personal bias.
And are you smarter than an 8th grader? These kids are learning to spot fake news in the classroom, but can parents pass the test?
Welcome back, everybody. Fake news. It's a phrase that we have certainly heard a lot of in recent years.
Thanks to Facebook and social media, stories spread like wildfire, even when they aren't true. And the phenomenon is now shaping a new curriculum in the classroom.
The truth about the minimum wage.
It used to be that you taught kids how to find information.
First of all, there are different info zones.
And now you teach them how to filter it.
John Cannon is a reading teacher at Great Salt Bay Community School in Damariscotta.
Now everyone can create news content, and that's come slamming into the reality that, uh-oh, now anyone can create news content that's irresponsible, biased, and even hateful or damaging.
He was doing research on how to address all of this with his students, and Checkology popped up.
It talks about viral content and how to spot viral content.
We need you on the scene.
An experience that lets students be virtual journalists.
What surprised you or was challenging about practicing quality journalism?
Using what the program calls 7 quality journalism standards, students are quizzed on digital content. Is it real or is it fake?
All right, time for some homework. Can you pass the test? I'm sitting down with some parents to go through the same curriculum. Follow along.
The task: review the following examples of viral content and indicate whether you think it's fact or fiction. This headline reads, CDC issued a warning, don't have a flu shot this year.
I would have to say fiction.
Fiction is the correct answer.
It looks legit.
This example appears to be a retweeted image with the user tagging CNN's account.
The law might be accurate, but I think it's being twisted. I'll say fiction.
And how about this one?
A person in a mugshot, maybe, Or a driver's license. I don't think they let you take a photo with something like that on your head. So I would say fiction.
It's fact.
Oh, okay.
Viral rumors are designed to override reason and appeal to our emotions, provoking anger, fear, hope, or curiosity.
Well, I think the woman with the colander upside down on her head may provoke curiosity.
Correct?
I know that the fake news is out there. Sometimes it's very obvious, but sometimes it isn't.
Heather Kierstead is a mom to 3 teens. She says a course like this would help shape how her kids consume online information.
They're going to be able to look at it with a different set of eyes.
Although Mr. Cannon's students aren't old enough to vote, he says they're practicing critical thinking, a constant in a world of change.
We don't know what jobs these kids are going to have in the future, but we do know what kind of people we want them to be.
Now, according to the News Literacy Project, the creators of Checkology, that's what it's called, there are more than 11,000 teachers in all 50 states using this curriculum. In the past 2 years, 18 Maine teachers have used it in their classrooms.
All right, we are staying in the classrooms when we come back. Lots of confusion about proficiency-based learning in Maine. We will take your questions to the experts coming up.
And it's a story of haves and have-nots next week. Who is getting snow and who is getting rain? The full forecast after the break.
I worry about the translation as far as widespread college application goes.
Proficiency-based learning, or PBL, have you heard about it? More and more Maine schools are shifting from the traditional system of grading students, A through F, to a number-based system that measures each student's proficiency. Can you say controversial? We did a story on it yesterday in our 6 o'clock news, and that kicked up a firestorm of comments and concerns on Facebook.
So our story starts with a student, a freshman class president at Sanford High School. He emailed us recently because they have switched over to PBL.
Jacob says everyone's confused, teachers, students, and parents, and there's a bit of panic, mostly because kids and their parents are worried about how this new grading system will affect them when they're applying for college.
So that was one of the dozens of questions among hundreds of comments on our Facebook page. We tried to get some answers. Megan Welter has been the principal at Memorial Middle School in South Portland for 14 years and has been studying PBL for over a decade. One of the major issues commenters had was the everybody gets a trophy argument. Sherry said, every student is not equal in their learning, but you don't dumb it down to lift up those who struggle or won't apply themselves. Grades are rewards, whether they are good or bad.
That's where there's sort of a fundamental disagreement about the purpose of grades. In a proficiency-based learning system, the entire intention of grades is to be able to communicate to the student and to the parent, but primarily the student, here's what you've been able to demonstrate that you know and can do. Here's where you still need to work. It's about having the kids be able to say, I get this, and I don't yet get this. We're hoping that in doing so, the kids have greater agency in their own learning.
Being set up for future success is also something that has people concerned. Darlene says there are no deadlines from PBL, so how does this prepare students with due dates from college and in real life, like paying bills?
Because we believe that students are going to show learning at different times and at different rates, and that has to be okay, and we have to provide multiple opportunities for them to demonstrate what they know. That doesn't mean, however, that kids can just blow something off and turn it in 3 months later and, have no consequence. But again, moving away from grades as rewards or punishment, we actually have our proficiency system, and what the state was requiring is that we separate what are called habits of work, or those sort of study habits and behaviors that support academics, from what they know and they can do. So a child might be late every day with their homework or may never do any homework, but they still might be able to, knock that ball out of the park, and they know all of the content. That has to be reflected in a proficiency-based system.
At the end of the day, one word seems to sum up everyone's concerns: frustration. Both Melissa and Tracy chimed in that every school district is different, so it's not always the same everywhere, and parents don't understand.
And I think that's understandable, because when the law was written, the intention was to allow there to be flexibility and autonomy in our school systems. And every school system has approached it a little bit differently. And I do think it is vital that parents, be able to reach out and ask questions to their school department. You know, whenever you go through the change process, we recognize that there's a change and we have to be able to set the context for the why. Why does this make sense? I feel like our administrative team is very well versed in not only the why, but sort of the how this is coming into effect. And we welcome parents to come in and talk to us. And, you know, we have a number of resources on our websites, but you know, our doors are open and we're happy to invite people in to talk to us about it.
Principal Welter was very clear that since each school has certain individual policies, it's best to check in with the school in your area if you have any questions.
All right, thank you very much to this viewer in Saco who had a sense of humor about the new weather graphics. She described one as blonde snail ate a snowflake, and we kind of see it too.
Pizza cutting chart too for
good
the sun.
news, everybody.
Yeah.
We changed the weather graphics. We can all celebrate like it's
and Keith, you were a good sport
on
retweeting the you know the take on those graphics.
Hey, I didn't make them. They were all
good too.
They didn't look good. I mean, bottom line. So we fixed them. Everybody's happy
Keith
now.
wasn't here the week that they debuted, so it's not his fault.
Yeah, that was purposeful.
That was not by accident.
Did you take that vacation
I think vacation
on purpose?
with direction and intent.
Exactly.
Yeah. We got a couple of snow events. Again, it's been an active pattern. Nothing big though, right? That's been the theme that's been kind of interesting as we've seen little systems. And here's our last one just exiting. Most of us fell between 1 inch and 2.5 inches of accumulation. Happened in about a 6-hour time period, most of us in the morning. There it goes though, and we're clearing out, but cooling down fast. Even from this morning to this afternoon when I've been outside, huge change in the air mass. It's 2 below already in Rangeley, 15 in Portland, 11 in Wiscasset. Perhaps more importantly, when you go outside, it's windy. The gusts have been high, 25 to 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour almost in Greenville. So when you factor those two things together, the wind chills are kind of brutal out there tonight. Not like what we saw late December, early January, but certainly dangerously cold later tonight, early tomorrow morning. We're actually going to see a decent amount of sunshine during the day on Saturday. It's a good looking day, but again, it's cold because we start so chilly. We get into the teens, maybe 20 along the coastline under mostly sunny skies, and then our next system moves in for Sunday. As I just talked about before, there will be some light snow showers in the morning. That could add up to a coating to up to 1 inch of snow. And then the coastline is going to change over to rain late in the afternoon and into the evening. So by game time, it should be raining along the coast. It'll be snowing, though, still in the mountains where it stays that way through most of the event when it finally exits on Monday morning. So that'll be good news for them. We get another break on Monday afternoon into Tuesday. Then another storm moves in on Wednesday. The pattern is progressive, but it's not amplified. So we're going to see a lot of storms, but they don't necessarily have a ton of strength with them. So hour by hour forecast showing you clear skies tonight and through the day tomorrow as well. And again, on Sunday, we start with snow shower activity that eventually transitions into more uniform precipitation, rain along the coastline, snow in the mountains, and that snow continues while the rain continues along the coast, maybe even a couple of heavy downpours late Sunday night and into Monday. As far as accumulation from Sunday and Monday combined, 4 to 8 inches in the mountains, 2 to 4 with a little bit of slush here out towards to the northwest of Augusta, and then a coating to 1 inch and then changing to rain along the coastline. It is not a big event for the coastal plain. Temperatures tomorrow morning, cold, 11 below in Rangeley, 10 below in Berlin. Again, nothing like what we saw late December, early January, but I could say that for 10 years and get away with it. That was an unbelievably cold stretch we had there. We'll watch Wednesday again. So from a weather weenie standpoint, this is kind of a disappointing pattern. It is too quick moving for us to get any kind of blockbuster storm, which I know kills you, Lee, but that's just where we're at. The mountains, though, will probably make out next week with snow. So
that's a win for me.
Yeah.
It can snow in the mountains all at once, and I support that 100%.
Right, you're gonna. So in that way, you like next week. Then.
Very nice.
It'll be good.
I like every week. Just happy you're
Positive
here.
guy. I
Just
know,
happy
I know.
for you.
Oh, he's being so nice to Keith today. Very good. All right, let's check in with Cindy Williams, who has a look at what's coming up at News Center Maine at 5:30. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, guys. Can you even imagine what it would be like to have 80 dogs living in one house? Well, that is what police discovered. The owner says that all of the animals are well cared for, but police say that this woman was operating an illegal dog breeding business in Gray. What she has to say about the charges. And a father lunges at convicted child molester Larry Nasser. 3 of his daughters were abused by the former Team USA doctor. We're going to have that story from the courtroom all ahead on News Center Maine at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, thank you very much. And do not forget to vote in today's Pulse poll. What is your favorite part of the Super Bowl? Is it the game, the halftime show, or the commercials? You can keep voting
saying the game.
until, well, the Patriots are in it, so this year it's going to definitely be the game. You keep voting until 6:30, and that's when we'll give you the results. We're back with some brain drops after this.
All right, today's brain drops were 15 years and a day from the anniversary of the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. A couple of interesting things to think about with this and some things that I learned. For those not familiar with what exactly happened, this is in 2003. This is the launch of the shuttle here. So the spacecraft ultimately burned up on re-entry to the Earth's atmosphere. And what caused this is relatively interesting. There's insulation all over the rocket boosters here on the space shuttle. And the reason for that is it's hydrogen and oxygen, and it's cold. So they can't have ice developing on the booster because it will break off and fragment and destroy things. This is a close-up of what they ultimately determined was the cause. If you look closely into the orange there, you see a piece of orange on the space shuttle. That's a piece of the insulation that was used, foam insulation. It hit the underside of the wing. But remember, the speeds we're talking about upon a launch here. It's not just like dropping a piece of foam. So they noticed this about a day after the launch occurred, and NASA and Ground Control said, we might need to investigate this further. The decision was made, and here's the interesting human side, the decision was made not to tell the crew about the possible damage to the craft. And the reason for this was that they had no way to fix it. So they didn't have a robotic arm. They were too far away to send another space shuttle up. They couldn't get it up in time. They would have run out of oxygen.
So they did not know.
So they did not know. So basically the decision was made. They still have a chance to make it through the Earth's atmosphere. Let's keep them level-headed. Let's see if they can do that, if it can happen. And if not, it's better that they don't know. And of course, it ended in tragedy. And basically what happened was the hole that was produced punched through a tile that was a thermal tile designed to stop the heat. When you re-enter the atmosphere, it's a tremendous amount of friction. You're going about 18,000 miles an hour, which is about 35 times the speed of a plane. And the heat got into the craft, and the rest is history. Interesting, though, we talked about it earlier in the newsroom. Would you want to know, or would you not want to know?
I mean,
you know?
In this specific situation, when you're an astronaut, I think you're signing up for inherent risk where you might not come back from your trip. So,
but
it's
as a
obviously
family
awful.
member or a loved one of one of those crew members, I think I'd be a little worked up knowing they didn't know all the details, all the facts.
I guess because they couldn't do anything differently.
Right.
And one final thing, this is radar from Louisiana on the day, and what you're seeing is the pieces of debris being picked up on the radar as it streaks down to the ground. So tragedy, they did learn something from it, but unfortunately lost 7 people there.
All right, well, we're going to learn more on News Center at 5:30 because it starts right now.